Good evening, everyone. Hello everyone and welcome back to round 3 of the championship here with Invictus Racing League. It's the tier 2 drivers who are going to be fighting it out for the sprint evening here at the Red Bull Ring, a track that will promote overtaking and challenges, but the format tonight is slightly different. One shot qualifying, then the sprint, so qualifying is really key, in which will just get underway in a few moments' time. Following that, a little breather for the drivers, and it'll be another one-shot quali and into the race. I'm delighted to say that joining me tonight, as we had the case from last week, we've got ARL, who hopefully is still there.
Yep, hello everyone, and yeah, welcome back to another week of some amazing action here at Austria.
It's going to be so I'm going to get ARL to do a lap for one-shot quali in just a moment. But also joining us again tonight, I'm glad to say, our reigning Tier 1 champion, Bjorn de Boer. Bjorn, how are you doing?
Thanks, Jack. I'm doing great. Really excited to see how these two upcoming races will unfold with these daring two drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Obviously, you two both raced last night in Tier 1, so you guys will be relying on a little bit in terms of giving us an update on strategies and how everything goes. But what are you expecting from the Tier 2 drivers tonight? Are you expecting a safety car, or are you expecting mixed weather because we're in Spielberg? What do you reckon?
I think it'd be a doubt to have anything other than a dry session in Spielberg. Being in the mountains, it's always a chance for having a little bit of rain here and there, as the conditions don't seem to be that sunny at the moment, but yeah.
Track's gonna be a little bit colder than yesterday, so maybe the tires will last a little bit longer. Safety car is pretty usual at Spielberg, as far as I know, so that could definitely change up the pack a little.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated to see how everything gets underway. We're about to get underway in just 20 seconds time, so it's critical for the drivers to make sure that their setups are loaded ahead of the one-shot qualifying. And can Pairs, can Pars carry it on? He's had 2 race victories in a row. Can he make it 3? We're about to go on to our onboard lap with ARL, so I'll let you take control. And who are we going to?
Yeah, that's the question now. One-shot quality, everybody's on a lap. So at the moment, let's see, it's the Cat currently starting the lap. So through into turn 1, first of the main corners, now DRS enabled all the way up to turn 3. You've got a while to pick your braking point. This is important. Don't lock it up. It's very easy to decide your braking point too late. Get on the traction quick enough, but keep it under control. Now the second of the DRS going down to turn 4. This time it's a downhill braking point besides the uphill at turn 3. Doesn't lock up nicely there. Takes a little bit of the curve, but that's absolutely fine. Now swoop around the long right-hander of turn 5. Now into turn 6. Be careful on that curve. You don't want to touch that one. Take the curve on the outside though. That'll be fine, but watch track limits. Now through into 7 and 8. This is where the tyres are going to be struggling because of that lower downforce setup that you'd have. Through and above the crest now. The infamous turn 9 and 10. Keep it into track limits. He does so nicely through there. Now the final corner. And he keeps that in check. DRS short sprint to the line. And he'll put a P5 on the board. It's a 105.1 for It's the Cat.
Well, that was scintillating. That qualifying was exceptionally close, right up between Rudder and Pars. It looked like Pars nicked it in the final corners, and it was indeed the Red Bull driver on pole position by 200ths of a second. Kent and Hulkenberger are on row 2 with It's the Cat and DXT Matty on row 3. Nitric Ash and Berra in 7th and 8th. It's Mercedes 8 and 9 with O'Stephen there in the second Mercedes. Clips Kiri rounds out the top 10 with Darrell, JPH, much better from Jordan in 12th place with Lionel Griesby, IRC Bruce and Sir Spud all setting valid lap times. Keza, Maras, Mikey and Madman, the 4 failing to do so. Bjorn, I'm assuming you were having a good watch of the drivers out there. Who were you following and how was their lap?
Well, I was following Pars, and as you said, he did nick it at the final two free corners. He was actually down quite a lot in the first 2 sectors, so what I'm thinking, he's got a little bit more downforce on his car compared to the other drivers. So we'll see how that works in the race.
Do you think that'll affect Pars a little bit more in the race, gents? Because obviously this is a track that can be quite notable for its DRS trains. Do you think he could get stuck in the pack if he doesn't get a good start?
Yeah, definitely. I prefer low downforce setups myself because it makes it easier to overtake on the straight. And like you said, it's really easy to get stuck in DRS trains, especially on the Red Bull ring. So we'll just see, and especially he hopes that he can break away from the DRS and then he can create a really big gap. But the hardest part is making that 1 second gap, of course.
I think I have to contradict Bjorn here. For me, I prefer to have a little bit more downforce, not necessarily too much, but the thing is that DRS from turn 1 all the way to turn 3 is incredibly powerful up the hill. It's just so difficult. Once you're within that 8/10 gap, it's quite a challenge to pull out of it. But if he can hold on to it and maybe find that extra time in the second sector to pull a gap enough, maybe it might work. It depends how much. You need to have a good balance here, but a bit too much can really hurt him if he wants to try and have any chance to pull out the DRS.
I can only really think back to my own experiences of running low downforce setups and high downforce setups at tracks similar to this. You know, obviously with Austria and the Red Bull Ring being not the most technically challenging circuit on the F125 calendar, you know, you'd sort of put Monza in the same sort of bracket as well as that. A couple of seasons ago, I run a higher downforce setup. It didn't allow me to overtake many cars, but what it did do was look after the tyres. So maybe later on for the feature race that Pars has got, perhaps that might just give him a little bit of advantage. Yes, he might get swamped, he might not be able to overtake too many people, but his tyre life will offset him against the other drivers. And speaking of tyre life, gents, one stop, two stop, what's the best strategy around here, and what would you be starting on?
Oh well, it depends on the situation in the moment, you know, safety cars and all that, but it can be tight between either way, honestly speaking. I think Bjorn tried the one stop, if I'm not wrong, yesterday in Tier 1, whereas myself going to the two stopper. So how much deg is there? How much will the tyres be struggling? If you can keep clean out of any mess, and the DTF of course is not going to help because that's going to cause the front end just to slide, and that's going to cause just more tyre wear. So it depends on what position you're in, but I think it's going to be tight between all the drivers here, but I won't be surprised to see both options explored.
Yeah, like you said, I personally did try the one stop yesterday in Tier 1. For me it worked perfectly. Of course the safety car did kind of help with that, but I think I could have pulled it up without it too. But of course that depends on weather, track temperature, etc. Also, if you're stuck behind someone, then it's easier to save tires. If you're starting at the front, you're gonna have to use more tires. As Rudder overtakes Pars. I don't know what's that about, but
I think that's a psychological game the Ferrari driver is playing with Pars there. Interestingly, the two of them are a pole sitter in second place on the hard compound tyre. The only other three drivers in the field who were running the hards are Lionel Griesby, so the two Saubers in 13th and 18th position, and Madman. So the hard tyres basically sandwiching the rest of the field apart from the Sauber of Lionel Griesby, top and bottom on the hard white wool Pirelli compounds. We're not expecting any pit stops during the sprint. Well, traditional pit stops in the sense that they need to change tyre for strategy, but is that a brave call, guys, in terms of the front two going for the hard tyre? Would you have expected that to have happened?
I think we're bound to see a hard in the sprint, but from both runners on the front row, I think that's a little bit of a surprise. But they'll take that risk, of course, on the launch and then the initial laps. But we did see with Owen yesterday, he tried to go on the hard in the sprint. It somewhat worked well. He took the pain in the first few laps, but then later on, the tyres just holding up so much better than the mediums that he could make overtakes really easy towards the end.
Wow. Go on, Bjorn.
yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree on that there. Of course, Pars also participated in the sprint yesterday and in the main race. He'll know how the hard and the medium feels better than anyone on the grid currently.
Yeah, of course. He had a full simulation race yesterday, so we're curious to see how he develops in this season ahead, our championship leader. But Madman, the last of the drivers to pull into his grid slot, the number 8 in the Racing Bull, is just approaching that little grid box there. Just 2 meters for the drivers to get accurate, which he has done, unlike Sir Spud. But we are about to get underway here for the sprint here at the wonderful circuit nestled within the Spielberg region. We've got the 5 red lights coming up now. And the race is live for the sprint here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a good start from Kent, and that's exactly the type of launch he would have wanted. All like the Ruddo, who's going to get dived into turn 1 by Hulkenberg and managed to avoid contact, but the Alpine is going to go through into 3rd place. A nightmare start for the Ferrari. It's the Cats also pinging his way past, so the Ferrari's gone from 2nd to 5th. They're 3 wide, a little bit further back. The 2 Mercedes sandwiching the Aston Martin of Nitrogas. Somehow we're just about little bits of contact throughout the field, but nothing too disastrous for anybody. A couple of drivers have gone downhill. Darrell and O'Stephen are side by side, so the Mercedes has gone backwards. He's on the inside at turn number 4, but I think Darrell will probably should have got the momentum in theory, but it looks like O'Stephen has battled his way through into 10th place. The McLaren's looking to make some moves as well. JPH in 13th, Bruce there in 14th. They're side by side. Keza in the gravel. That's not going to help the Ferrari he raced yesterday as well. See how he adapts to life back on F1 25. Madman and Maras fighting as well. It's all been kicking off. The 2 Saubers, not the best start for those two. Lionel Griesby started 13th, down in 18th, so a nightmare for him. Matty's going backwards into 9th, but Pars leads the way. Dream start, but he's got Kent all over his rear spoiler, gents.
Yeah, and look at that traction. So much better grip for Kent. Here he comes. DRS already activated, and he's already ahead before the breaking point. And now into the sprint, but now the rules get reversed. The Red Bull of Pars, he'll get the dosage of DRS, but does he have the traction on those hard tyres?
What are you seeing, Bjorn?
I'd just like to point out, Line of Griesby actually stalled on the grid. He lost 6 positions already, from P13 to P19, now in last. He'll be fighting his teammate to try and get back to the main pack.
Oh, that's a nightmare for Lionel Griesby. On the controller is Matty, and something has gone horribly wrong for him there. We'll have to catch up with him a little bit later on, but Kent leading the way. But the thing is with DRS, the drag reduction system is so powerful around Spielberg, it's not easy to break away. But he does have the medium compound tyre. It'll all come down to how good he is in the middle sector. 106.9 from It's the Cat, 106.7 from Nitro. As into the pits goes Maras from 16th place. Did anyone see if she had damage at all?
There's a little bit of a concertina effect into turn 3 on lap 1 between the hash, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's where she's picked up some front wing damage, but that's going to put her at the back of the field. I did want to say though, that was an important awareness from Rudder to have to avoid the charging Alpino Hulkenberger, as now Hulkenberger having a little bit of a look on the Red Bull Pars. He's going to go actually switch around to the outside now. Is it enough drive on those medium tyres? It's not enough. Pars lives to fight another day, but the tyres are not fired up yet on that Red Bull.
Really exciting stuff here at the moment in these opening laps. The medium tyre runners are trying to get up to speed. I feel like Ruddo is nestled in quite nicely there. I think he's going to keep a watching brief for the next lap or two, just as he fires those tyres into the working range. The top 8 altogether. Matty in 9th place. He's slipped out of the drag reduction system, so it's him and O'Stephen. Darrell just about latched on in the second group, which is finished up with Bruce in 14th. Madman on those harder tyres. He's going to have a bit of work to do to try and catch up to the group, but right now Lionel Griesby is making his way back up through the field as he gets past Sir Spud, and Darrell, I think, has had a bit of a mare there, and he's dropped down to 13th place. Make that 14th.
Yeah, I'm just watching the start, and I noticed, I think it was Barra and Clips Curry into lap 1, turn 1. They had a pretty big contact moment, but I'm not seeing any damage on both of the cars, surprisingly.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it, does it?
Would explain it, but at the moment, look how Hulkenberg is right on the rear of that Red Bull. Red Bull trying to fight whatever he's got. He's just going to have to take a bit of the pain here. He knows the mediums are going to be fired up much quicker, and already they are. But he's not doing a bad job. He's still staying well within that 1 second gap as Darrell unfortunately picks up a time penalty. So it's not out of the question for Paz, but you could see the mediums are just a bit more fired up at this stage.
Yeah, they're looking really strong at the minute, but I think the problem for Hulkenberg right now and everybody else who's in this 8-car trio is that they've got to try and get past Kent and try and pull away if they can. But Hulkenberg again, he's looking at a move on Paz, who has to dive one up the inside. He was trying to actually defend from Hulkenberg. He slots himself into the lead. There's a yellow flag out there, but Kent is trying to fight back. But incredibly, Paz had the DRS as a result of defensive manoeuvres, and Hulkenberg is on the inside now of Kent for second position. They keep it nice and clean, and the Williams has a little squirrel of loss of traction on the exit of turn 3, and I think the Alpine's going to get through. He does. Overcorrection from Kent to try and keep that car in a straight line, but look at the damage it's done in terms of the gap at the front. Hulkenberg is over a second behind. This is a key moment in the sprint race as Ruddo surely not going to try it into turn 9 on the inside of Kent, and he has to at the last minute back out of it as Nitrogash and Clips Kiri make changes. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot going on already.
Certainly, and there's still a bit to go as Ruddo just having a little look on Kent. Surely he's not going to go there either, but DRS now enabled for Kent and Ruddo, but not for Hulkenberg. Paz is clear of 1.5 seconds up the field. What can Kent do? He's going to go alongside and well ahead into the braking point. We have a yellow flag. I think that's Mikey spinning off at turn 9. It is. So no incident there, but that's not going to help as Clips Kiri now gets ahead of It's the Cat.
Ruddo down the inside of Hulkenberg into turn 5, I think that is. I don't know if that little bump to the left after turn 2 is considered a turn, but he's done it nice and clean. But Ruddo has not a lot of reason to push that hard on the hards, as I expect the hards to be quicker than the mediums by a lot around lap 9. But of course he has to get within a second of Pars if he wants to have any chance of winning the sprint.
I think that's why he's trying to get up to the back of him, isn't he? I think that's why he's pushing so hard, because he knows that Pars in the Red Bull's getting away, and that higher downforce setup that he's running, as we hinted at in qualifying, is just giving the Red Bull a bit of a breather up front now without having to worry about the pressures from the cars behind. I think if you have a hindsight moment, you're looking back at Hulkenberg thinking if he hadn't have gone for a little look at the inside, Pars wouldn't be in the lead at this moment in the race. But the rest of the field really close together. The top 8, It's the Cat did slide backwards. He got sort of muscled out and slipped down from 6th to 8th as Mikey picks up a track limits violation. O'Stephen heads the next field, although Mikey's gone round again, so the Sauber having a bit of a nightmare race, to be honest with you. He's in the grass. I think the IRL director is not having the best of evenings, shall we say. But at the front, this 8-car pack won't care about Mikey in the nicest way possible. They'll be too busy trying to fight in over these last couple of podium places.
I think they won't really care too much about Mikey unless it causes a VSC or safety car at this point. But at the moment, no, all drivers running clean on the track. So yeah, hopefully nothing going as far. But Ruddo, he's close. I think closer than he's been for a while for the last 3 laps on Kent. So here's an opportunity for you, Ruddo. Can you try and steal that second place? And he's got the DRS to help with that. He's closing a bit though. Is it enough? Is it enough to get nearly alongside? But he's going to hesitate. But in fact, no, he'll brake later than Kent. And he gets ahead nicely, does he? Now Kent though gets the DRS back on his car. And now it's going to be a drag race to turn 4. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Is it Kent? Is it Ruddo? It's both of them going quite deep, but Kent lets off their brake pedal and he gets back ahead. But here comes Ruddo now, using the battery and gets back ahead now. Good fighting between the two drivers.
Oh, huge snap of oversteer for Kent. All of that traction is starting to fall away now. Those medium tyres are not lasting much longer, and that is a big gap that he's got to try and attempt to close down. You'd think he'd be able to do that, but whether he's going to be able to mount a serious challenge to Ruddo remains to be seen, as Berra picks up a time penalty. We're seeing penalties already, gents, in the sprint, and that's going to be a big factor in the feature race later.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really easy to pick up track limits at this track. I'm 100% sure I can say that someone else will pick up a penalty in the last 3 remaining laps, especially because it's so close at the front. They'll push each other to the absolute limits.
Yeah, Nitrogash was really pushing there to make sure he stayed inside DRS. He's right on the limit of it when he went over the DRS sign before. So for the Aston Martin, he's just about in range. He's dipping in and out of it. This is a critical second sector for the Aston Martin, otherwise it will become a quartet fighting over second place. Ruddo's not doing too bad a job, to be fair. He's closed that gap down to Pars just a little bit. O'Stephen still leads the rest of this group from 9th through to, well, I was going to say 13th, but Madman has thrown it. Wow, Madman goes through on both Bruce and Keza. That was an overtake that you wouldn't normally expect at turn 7 as Bruce runs wide. But the Racing Bull taking advantage of a bit of confusion there, and he moves up to 12th.
Real move that.
Incredible stuff now. It's the gap, gets through and head. There's another yellow flag. I think that's Mikey at the final corner. But that's just a yellow flag. I think he can get going. He can, yes. So as now Jordan tries to have a look. Oh no, Stephen. But Stephen's going to fight back. Oh, it's contact between the two. Contact. Jordan losing the rear, and that's just saying the Mercedes of Stephen now. Stephen actually going on the grass again. But that's caused a little bit of havoc down in the midfield as somebody locking up very close into turn 4. A little bit of wheel banging, but I think luckily we've all gotten away with that. But that's not going to hurt. That's not going to go well for McLaren.
Such a shame that he was all the way up to P9.
Yeah, he was running well there, but it's a mistake for Jordan and contact with O'Stephen. I didn't see it as clearly as you two, to be fair, despite watching the same screen. I was watching just behind them. DXT Massey was getting ready to try and make a lunge. He didn't have to in the end. And look at the penalties flying in now. If I just flick it over, you can see 4, 6, 8 cars in the field now with track limit offences as we move on to the penultimate lap of the race. 2 laps ago, or rather 3 laps ago, Madman was in 15th place. He's up to 10th. He's had a stonking recovery drive after having a bit of pain on those hard tyres, and maybe that is the route for the drivers to take later on. Sydney saying in the comments, obviously Sydney the tier 1 leader in the championship at the moment, he's saying hards are better, and he just wanted 2 hards in the main race. So it's going to see how that will affect the drivers who are on the mediums at the present moment.
Yeah, mind you, Madman started dead last. He's all the way up to P10 in the sprint race, and it's not even over yet.
Yeah, that's as well. Penalties potentially might come across to help him. So as we start, in fact, the final lap, actually, we've not really noticed it so far, but Ruddo just hovering in that 1 second, and he does have DRS for the final lap of the sprint.
He can take it.
Game on.
Yeah, it's his game on indeed. He's closing that gap right the way down. Both of them in the battery situation are quite similar as Pars locks up a little bit at turn 3. He's going to just, I think, be far enough ahead of the Ferrari, but you know that Ruddo's going to try and go for it at turn 4. I don't think he's going to be close enough. He shapes a move, but the Ferrari has done well. The Red Bull does break a little bit later, and then Ruddo gets on the power touch too early. Breaks traction. It's going to take something special to get through in these final few corners, boys.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too challenging, unless Paz has had 2 moments on this lap where he's gone deep, so it's not over until it's over, but I think it's going to be too much to get him through these last 2 corners.
Yeah, here he comes around the final corner of the racetrack. It was a good fight from the Ferrari, But it is going to be Pars who takes another victory in season 22. He's got an iron grip on that first position. Ruddo close to taking a victory today. He sits in second. Kent gets a podium. Well done to Kent. He'll be chuffed with that. That was a good result, fending off Hulkenberger, the reigning Tier 2 champion. Nitrogash ends up 5th, and the last of the points finishes for the sprint ended up going the way of Berra for 6th place. It's the Cat, so close to getting points there for the sprint. Would have been the Cat's best points finish, best position in a sprint ever. Kiri, Matty and Madman rounding out the top 10.
Guess had a puncture.
Has he?
Rear left.
Well, let's all join on board. Because you don't see... Whoa! He's gonna... If anyone wants to watch the No One Sleep in Austria Drift Edition, you can sign up now for a Ferrari that Keza is doing his absolute best to keep a hold of.
I didn't try to the tire. It's impressive.
And he's still going to beat Mikey. And Mikey puts it into the wall, which kind of, I think, summarises his race quite aptly, sadly. But that's a sprint, you know, it's always worth getting your eye in. Still a feature race to come. So let's just have a run through of the provisional sprint results here. Pars takes a 3rd victory for the season. 2 race victories, 1 sprint. Ruddo in 2nd, Kent rounding out the podium, Hulkenberg and Nitro and Berra in the points. It's the Cat, Clips, Kiri, DXT Matty and Madman inside the top 10. Great race from Madman, up 9 spots from his starting position. Stephen in 11th after that contact with JPH. Lionel Griesby recovered really strongly in the end in the Sauber to finish back where he started. Bruce and Sir Spud in 14th and 15th with Maras, Darrell in 16th, 17th. Keza with a puncture finished ahead of Mikey in 19th place after 12 laps, gentlemen, of action that I would call quite frenetic.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a shame we don't offer points more in the sprint because Madman had an absolute charge. I would love to see an on board throughout his race, charging up the field in just 12 laps. But one thing I did want to note is all those penalties picked up was within 12 laps. Now we've got 36 laps to go of racing action. We could have to wait until the end of the race to figure out what the positions are going to be. But before that, I think you've seen the weather, gents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me and you are. I think Bjorn's accidentally just left.
My game's just crashed again.
Oh, no. Well, incredibly, we have intermediates, but what I'm seeing is a couple of drivers who have left the session. So I think Kent is one of those drivers. Let me just invite him back in and we'll get Bjorn in as well so that he can pick up from where he was commentating from. And I cannot see where you are, Bjorn, on here, which is less than ideal. But whilst I have a look through that, obviously ARL, you were watching the race. I mean, these drivers won't have planned for a wet qualifying session, I don't believe. So how do you drive a car with a dry setup on a wet circuit?
Well, they've got a chance to adjust the setup a bit here because obviously being a sprint weekend, so they can change it a bit. But the question is, what is it going to be in the main race? Because that, let's be real, that is where the priority stands. They're going to have fairly low downforce to begin with, so they can adjust a bit of the front wing. So that's possible because obviously if it's a dry race, they can bring that back down. But besides that, they're just going to have to take it cautiously and, you know, settle for what they've got because the full race is where you score the points.
Well, that's an interesting couple of comments. Whilst you were talking an hour, I was just looking to see that there's a few people who have crashed from the game. So Kent being one of them, Pars being another one who obviously won the race just then, so we can just try and make sure we get him back in. Bjorn, have you been able to rejoin?
No, the game's still launching. The game crashed yesterday as well after the sprint, so I don't know for literally everyone.
That's not ideal.
I think it's a bit of a repeat from last night, a similar issue. This time only a few drivers though getting that, but clearly something up with the server when it goes from the sprint race to the quali. So I don't think it's an issue on anyone's behalf, but the game itself.
Okay, what I can see as well from the comments is people are stuck on the pit screen. A couple of people are asking regarding a restart of the lobby, so I'm going to let the management team resolve that one, because I'm in the commentary box, so I'm not going to make any decision on that. But I am going to ask you both a question. It looks like it's going to be a dry race, but qualifying will be wet, according to O'Stephen, who's down there. Who is your prediction for... What are your predictions for the top three? I normally do race victory, but what are your predictions for the top three from both of you?
I'll let Bjorn go first. I think he'll be more optimistic on that, but
okay.
Yeah.
That's a really hard question. Top three. I'm gonna give a shout. Top one winner of the race gonna be Hulkenberger. Second, I'm gonna say I wanna do something unique here. It's the cat. Surprise podium. And then third Pars. That's my top three.
Oof. Well, I don't know what to say, to be honest. I'm terrible for predictions, so that's the thing. It's I think
we are restarting. We are restarting.
Well, we have apparently 17 drivers currently on the lap, but I think this might either be AI or yeah. So we are restarting anyway. So this is not going to matter. But I'm going to throw in Kent for the predictions. I think I'm going to say Kent, Hulkenberger, and I'm going to go Ruddo.
No one's saying Pars.
I don't know. I don't want to wish anything or any bad luck, but Ruddo's been on some really good form since Bahrain, and I think he's really, a bit of a revival for him. So I'm expecting him to really be up there, and that's not to say Pars wouldn't, but that's for me what I'm going for.
Right, well that has kind of settled that then, really, to be honest with you. A couple of drivers are actually still driving around at the moment, so I don't think that 12 at least drivers are actually aware of what is going on circuit, so they're going to get a rough surprise in just a moment. A clip saying that his message did not ping around to everybody, so that's why we've got this bit of a awkward situation, but we manage it as best as we can whilst Clips resets the lobby and goes through everything. Whilst we're waiting for everyone to get their invites, I'm just going to go through the drivers' standings at the moment. I'll do both the drivers and the teams as well. So just to make a position, rather to make a point from last week, after Barcelona, Pars of course leads the championship. He's got maximum points so far on 34. We're not including the race result today. This is just from, of course, the 2 feature races that we've done. Ruddo is second. He's just 10 points back on 24. Hulkenberger is third on 23 points. Nitrograph's having a good start to the season. He's fourth on 20. O'Stephen having a blinding start after his podium of back at round 1 in Bahrain. He's fifth on 15. Kent is sixth on 14. It's the Cat is seventh on 13. Berra on 9 points. Matty Rudd on 8 points. And Ginger Tiger rounding out the top 10 on 7 points. In terms of the constructors, it is quite close, to be honest with you. At the top of the pile, you've got Ferrari, that's both Ruddo and Matty Rudd, on 32. Aston Martin are on 27, so that's Nitro and Ginger. Mercedes are on 24 with O'Stephen and Berra. Alpine are on 23 points for Hulkenberger and Sir Spud, and Williams have got Kent and Clips on 20. I know that people are wondering about Pars. He is a reserve driver for Red Bull, so not technically scoring any points in the championship as of yet.
Ferrari though, looking good at the front though. Matty Rudd obviously scoring some decent points for the team. Unfortunately, Matty Rudd not here tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he's not.
No, so Matty Rudd obviously not going to be scoring points for the Ferrari camp, but Ruddo, like I say, he's been looking really strong lately. I think with the pace he showed in that last couple of laps there, closing up to Pars, I think he's got every chance to try and take the fight to him and try and win this tonight.
Just inviting everybody back in. Bjorn, what's your strategy for today? I know you did the one stop yesterday, RL did the two stop. What would you be thinking if you were a tier 2 driver and you were starting in, let's say, 7th place? Where would your mind be going?
Exactly the same as yesterday.
Gotcha.
Not a single difference. I would go very long on the hards, as long as I can, and then mediums at the end.
Is there anything that you would, if let's say you decide to start on the medium tyre, would you, because of the risk of the DRS train, would you feel there's any benefit to undercutting so you can save a little bit of time, get a bit of fresh air?
On the mediums? Undercut.
If you started on the mediums, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hards can go a lot longer than the mediums. So by undercutting, there is no downside because the hards will make it to the end no matter what. I'd say you could even undercut, let's say the normal start would be around for the one stop lap 16, I believe. I would undercut even maybe lap 13, 14, 3 laps. That would give you a massive gap, massive undercut. You'd be out of DRS and then you can just drive to the end. It's gonna be boring, but it's effective.
That's where we are at the moment. We've got 18 drivers in. We are missing the one, and the last one who has just jumped in is Daryl. So that's who we were waiting on. So we should be able to get ready in just a moment's time. Obviously, Clips will be sorting out the weather conditions, which I have just realised, of course, that because it's a one-shot in the race, he won't be able to set them up individually. Because you can't set the weather for qualifying and you can't set the weather for the race, so it would have to be.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we're sticking with then dry, because the race was confirmed to be dry. Do we go on to dynamic? Do we go on to what was said for the race? I think that's what we're going with as it stands, but I think that's a bit of a shame. It takes out that unknown for what would have been in quali, because that could have really shaken up the entire grid.
Yesterday for the lottery restart we went on dynamic again, but I believe that was just a mistake.
Oh, okay, apparently Clip's saying you can. Ah, okay, so Clips has set it, so we are going to get a bit of a shaken up grid. Well, hey, that's what we were after. A little bit of dynamism here at Invictus Racing League. We're not bound by the parameters of some coding. Just having a look at the chat, quite a few of you in there. Kelvin, who says, of course, is Spuddy, was saying he had a broken end plate since lap 1, so that's why he struggled during the sprint race. Kez is saying that was awful, yeah, and the puncher didn't help either. Paul Racetech predicting Kent for a win today, so, you know, kind of aligning with our commentators in the room. And Mikey's saying hello Mikey, hope you're doing okay. Did you get some practice in, mate, before you no, he's just responded by saying he was just terrible. Yeah, I would concur.
Well,
at least he knows.
Well, you've got 36 laps, Mikey, to try and turn that around, so go on, Mikey.
Yeah, prove us wrong. Score a podium, Mikey. I'd love to see it, to be honest with you. It would be amazing. However, I have said to a lot of people before, if Mikey did get his first ever podium in Invictus Racing League, I guarantee in 10 years' time he will still be telling you about it. We are seconds away from the second qualifying one-shot of the evening. I'm going to let Bjorn cover that one. Bjorn, you've got a little bit more time than ARL, to be fair, to pick a driver who you'd like to ride on board with.
I'd love to go on board with Barra.
Barra. Okay, we'll make sure the screen is on. So why are you picking Barra? Just out of curiosity.
Had to pick someone. It's got a cool name.
Yeah, he does
the only
actually.
reason.
I mean, if we look at all the different hyphenated names that are in the lobby, you've got YB Maras, you've got FRL, IRC, DXT, DJ, which is Aaron, NSX. I'm going to assume that's relating to the infamous Honda, the only cool Honda. Well, no, that's a complete lie. I was just about to say the only cool Honda in history. But the only cool original Honda NSX. The new one's not too bad, but it's not as cool as the original.
Well, all I'll say is I'm glad you can't see what I've set as my real name on this game. Otherwise, yeah. I think Jordan will know exactly what I'm on about. But yeah, no, it's we'll leave that for another time.
How can I find this out?
If you send me a close friend request, then maybe you can get a glimpse of what it is. But yeah, so
we are going to be having intermediate conditions for the race ahead of us. Scotty saying, good to see you, Scotty, by the way. He's saying Clips Kiri for P1. So lots of different predictions coming in. Obviously, with me sort of directing everything, it's great because I don't have to make any predictions for races. I always leave that to the more experienced Tier 1 veterans such as yourselves.
Yeah, well, I asked you almost every week when I was in chat, and you never did it.
No. I am a Tier 2 driver at best, and a Tier 3 runner-up is the only statistic that I have available to my name in IRL amongst a number of race wins. But we're not far away from qualifying. Kelvin saying Hulkenberger for the win, so quite a lot of different predictions coming in. Clips getting us all ready to go. One other thing to make a point of is lap invalidations, intermediate tyres. It's going to make it a bit more tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was scared of yesterday, was invalidating my quali lap.
Over to you, Bjorn.
Alright, let's see then. Can't find him. It's moving too quickly.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to him via here, and it's proving to be a little bit.
I got it. Oh no, that's a Steven.
We'll go with Steve. I've got Barra. Let's go.
I've got him too. Into turn 4, he goes brakes early. You want to avoid that curb, but he doesn't. He does hit the apex very nicely. Slow on the exit for the second straight. I assume DRS deployed coming into turn 6. Brakes early on the curb again, slides a little on the entry, still hits the apex, slow on the exit, nice and controlled, short shift to 4th gear, close to the apex here, early braking, locks up the front left, misses the apex slightly, fine exit now, a little bit late turn in here, want to avoid track limits on the exit, he does so, nice, now into the last technical sector. Tap of the brakes into 5th or 6th gear, you want a little bit wide, a little bit slow there. And for the final turn, that was a fine apex to the line. Hulkenberger takes pole, Barra 12th with a 1:16.4. Pole by Hulkenberger's pole by, I think it was 6/10 to P2.
It was, yeah. Stonking lap from the Alpine. Hulkenberger absolutely flying in. But let's just have a little run through of the qualifying results here. So Hulkenberger on pole by 6/10, like Bjorn says. Maras, what a great lap from Maras. She does typically do quite well in the wet weather conditions. She's in 3rd with Ruddo 4th. Matty and It's the Cat round at the top 6 with Daryl Keza FRLO Stephen, and what a lap that is from Lionel Griesby inside the top 10. Can they finally score points in that Sauber? Madman and Berra are in the point scorers, the last of. Then it's Nitrogash, the two McLarens. Kent having an issue on his lap. Mikey, Clips and Sir Spud invalidating their lap times, although I have a feeling that Sir Spud might have deliberately done that. I know what Kelvin's like for his strategies. He does try to do things a little bit differently. Does King Potato?
Well, that'll be a bit spicy, but like you said, what a lap from Maris. That's great to see her back up there. Yeah, so second row of the grid, but yeah, now just seeing J Ray Bay in the chat. Hello to you, mate. It's shame to not see you round. So I assume you'll be cheering on your previous teammate. But yeah, no.
I'm quite excited for Maras, because this is the best qualifying position she's ever put in Invictus Racing League, but also she's not entirely unfamiliar with being up at the front in our leagues. This might sound like a contradiction, but do bear with me. So Maras, she qualified on the front row back in our F2 league a couple of seasons ago, in between season 20 and 21. She went on to win in the F2 league, but has never finished on the podium in F1 machinery. So whether that'll happen today, it'd be great to see another race winner. A brand new race winner is always a lovely thing. For Maras has put herself in a good position, but Hulkenberger, Pars, Ruddo around her, that's quite a tall order to overcome, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly not going to be the easiest of fights to be in, but just say 6 laps to decide that. And the important thing is, like we saw within just 12 laps, how many penalties were picked up. So I think the most important thing is to keep it clean, stay out of the trouble, and just run your race and keep it clean, and then hopefully that will reward you at the end of the race.
Yeah, I just want to comment on Jackie. I want to add something. I remember racing with Maris, I believe it was in Hungary, like 10 laps in the F2 cars behind her. Was an amazing battle. I think I still have it clipped.
Yeah, I remember that fight really well, actually, around Hungary. That little mini season that we had for F2 was really something special. We had a really good championship with Shortbread 224, who won the F2 mini league in the end. Sadly not able to race in Tier 1 this season due to work commitments, but he's aiming to come back for season 23, which is in planning, by the way. Just a low-key announcement on that. But we are a couple of minutes away from the race starting. I'm just going to get you two to both remind us all of what your predictions were, so that we can pick on you later when you're inevitably wrong.
All right. Well, my predicted winner is on pole, Jack. Hulkenberger was first. Then I believe I had It's the Cat.
Yeah.
And Pars was third.
Okay. Hand over to ARL.
I'm not very good at these. Oh well. I'm gonna stay with Hulkenberger. I'm gonna put Ruddo up there, and I think you've got to have in contention always Pars. He's just always there. He's up there as well. So between those three, in no specific order, I'll leave the rest to you.
Well, I will leave it to your esteemed judgment. Maybe for the last round of the season, you two can have a break from predictions, and I'll do something with that when the stakes are well and truly high. I can make a colossal error somewhere in the midst of all that. Formation lap about to get underway, just as it does. A couple of comments that have come flying in. Aaron saying, I want to hear some expletive language being used on stream. Ramp up the emotions a little bit. I'm ever the professional, as we all are. I don't think that's going to happen, Aaron, as much as you'd love to hear it. Sydney's going for Ruddo. So that's a good choice on that one. J. Ray Bay saying he's semi-retired. But it would be good to see J. Ray back in for next season. He can have a breather, come back after Christmas. why not? But the tyre strategy, gents, is a little bit more split than what we saw in the sprint.
Yeah, and more hard tyres, more than the mediums. So, indication the hards are more preferable, potentially, or maybe have they been listening into Bjorn's one-stopper guide? So, could be a thing.
Yeah, well, what I do remember also from starting on the hards is that I had a terrible grip on the start. So watch for Rudder's start in a minute here.
Oh, well, I think that should have been warned before. Sorry to everybody who's listened to that feedback. So, well, you're in that situation now.
Beyond the wild card in the comms box with us here. One thing I just want to make a point before the drivers get to the start grid. Both Hasses inside the top 6, Maras and It's the Cat. I mean, I always like to root for an underdog. It is always something. There's the possible race strategies on the screen there, ladies and gentlemen. It does say 2-stop with hard, medium, medium. We don't think the 3-stop's going to be at play in a green flag situation from start to finish. So we reckon it's either going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop more than likely. But the 2 Hasses inside the top 6, what a result that would be if they could finish where they are lining up currently. And speaking of lining up, the number 69 of Sir Spud is weaving slowly towards his grid box. In fact, has kind of doing almost a fake start there, really, for the Alpine as he slowly gets himself into position. It's an Alpine at the front and one at the back. First and 19th, the Alpines split the field as we get ourselves ready here for the feature race at the Red Bull Ring. And the race is live from Austria. It's a good start from the front row. We're looking towards Ruddo, who's already alongside Maris as they approach turn 1. Hulkenberger will lead, and then Ruddo is going to kind of get crowded out, who himself forces Matty wide. Keza going up through the field. So a good start for the reserve Ferrari driver today. At turn 1, it's the Cat making a move on the inside of DXT Matty, and the Ferrari of Ruddo dives one and then hits the back of Pars. And I have a funny feeling that's going to be a broken end plate. There's a bit more carnage at the back. There's a yellow flag flying in the background. Lionel Griesby still in 10th place. Kent's up to 12th and Berra is in 13th. All cars scattered all over the road, and Maras and DXT Matty were getting into it then because Ruddo, I think, has got potentially a little bit of damage. You can't see anything on the car, so hopefully I'm proving wrong. Matty on the inside of Maras as they approach turn number 7 at the left-hander, and the Red Bull on those medium tyres springs up into 4th place. A good start for DXT. It's nice to see him up fighting near the front. They're going to plough their way down into turn 9 and 10, but it's Hulkenberger who leads the way from Pars Ruddo, and I'm going to have a breather. Over to you two.
Yeah, it got a little bit messy down at turn 3, but luckily all okay. But it went 3 wide between Keza, Stephen, and It's the Cat into turn 4. I'm amazed they're still in this race somehow from that.
Yeah, I was just looking into turn 1. I believe Daryl got pushed wide. He got stuck on the curb, lost 3 positions there. Unfortunate for him. Also, Maris and Ruddo also having contact twice on lap 1. But important for Maris now, don't let the medium runners get inside of her head. Just stay calm. Your tyres will be better soon.
Something has happened to Berra and Bruce. Definitely something has happened to Berra. No front wing on the car whatsoever, and Bruce has a massive end plate damage, so those two relying on a safety car. So that's bumped Mikey up a couple of spaces, which I think he'll be encouraged by at the moment. Opening lap though, onto lap 2 and then 3 in just a moment's time, as Kent goes past Madman using a better battery on the approach to turn 9, and Kent trying to find his way through the field. He started 16th, he's up to 11th, and he might have a little run here on Daryl into turn number 1, and Williams on the inside line, and I think Daryl will be sensible and lets the Williams man go. Better exit though out of turn 1. These two are going to be fighting up through the hill. So turn 2, the little left-hander, then it's turn 3, and will Daryl look to the inside? He won't. So Kent doing a great job, but then Daryl gets surprise attacked by Clips, and there's contact between the two. They're all over the road. And that might just promote Madman up a place. It looks like it does. And Madman moves past his teammates into 12th position. Nitro down the inside. at turn number 4. That's very close between the two, and Nitro scares Darrell out of the way, and the 77 up to 13th. And make that a bit more.
Happening, Ruddo has passed Pars on the straight into P2. So notable. And oh, yeah, that was close. I was on board with Maris there. I thought she was going to hit the one inside of the last turn, but luckily she escaped with only a penalty. I believe she actually tapped the inside wall, but I don't think she has any damage.
No visible damage from what the cameras are showing, but yeah, Rudder now into second place. He's on the mediums though, remember that, so he's going to naturally have better grip at this stage, but now he's got a much better run on Hulkenberg. Is this the point where he takes the lead? He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's got to almost look to the inside, trying to force his way on the inside. He brakes much later, but he gets it stopped in time, and he'll go ahead, but Hulkenberg is going to try and fight this back. He's on the right hand side, so he's going to go around the outside maybe. No, it's not enough. Hulkenberg just has to settle, and Ruddo now takes the lead of the race, but he's got a charging Alpine and a whole train of cars right behind him.
Yeah, quintet of cars all together. Keza lost the DRS there, so that's going to split that group into his second group from 6th through to 10th. Oh, Stephen trying to go around the outside at turn 9. I know Keza was going into the pits, but still, you don't see a move onto the entry of turn 9. That was brave from the Mercedes man. He goes up to 6th as a result of Keza coming into the pits. Don't know if he's got damage, gents, but the Ferrari, that's a very early pit stop for the Scuderia. But Ruddo, after having a big battle with Hulkenberger, is in the lead, but he's going to have to make use of those medium tyres on the next lap or two, otherwise he's not going to get away. There's a yellow flag, and I think that's for Mikey. Yeah, he's gone into the wall.
Keza did pick up damage. I saw a missing end plate there, so I don't know where that contact happened at all, but maybe he can actually profit from this early undercut a lot.
I do want to say it was getting awfully tight between the two Red Bull drivers there into turn 3. In fact, Matty actually getting a little bit of a tap from Maris out the exit of turn 3. But this is going to be interesting how the Red Bull pair play this, because of course Paz is technically a reserve driver, although he is always in that Red Bull. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. But they're all still well within the DRS range. Maris just falling a little bit behind. Can she stay in the DRS? She's just within, So yeah, it's getting awfully close down into turn 3, so keep an eye on that as Hulkenberg is just closing back up to Ruddo.
Yeah, Lions of Greensby had a very slow lap, I don't know, on his in lap. Maybe he's picked up a puncture somewhere, but he lost 3 positions before entering the pit lane, and was also before the pit entry, so I don't know what happened there.
I wonder if he's had a little slide in the middle sector somewhere, but he's gone to the hard tyres, so he will have a super undercut on the drivers in the midfield. But again, tyre offset, you might feel that 30 laps is a bit too long for the hard tyre to try and survive, as Keza actually gets past him thanks to the Ferrari tyres being 1 lap fresher and warmer, as Berra goes past Bruce for 18th place in those lower positions. The top 4 though, still together, the 2 Red Bulls there, and Pars. Now, that's a key point in this race so far. A 3-second time penalty in the opening 7 laps. And that is going to contribute against him if we have a tight finish at the end.
Yeah, that's a bit of a rare one for Pars. He's been so clean so far this season. But yellow flag, that should just be Mikey, so nothing going there. But as in fact, actually, is that Hulkenberg having a look on Ruddo into turn 3, a bit of wheel banging there, but I think it's okay. Now, a bit of contact between the Red Bull and Alpine.
Oh dear, that is I feel like once it had happened, they were never get, and that's a reset to track for Pars, so that is going to be a post-race penalty for the Red Bull. You're not allowed to do that. It's actually brought out, I'm going to assume that's a VSC, gents, by the looks of it. There's no yellow safety car indicator on the track, but anyone who's on the mediums who's thinking about getting a cheap pit stop, you could argue this is the time to try and pull off a 2-stop at this point in the race.
It could be actually perfect for the likes of Ruddo. He's the closest man to the pit entry. Whether it stays Yellows, oh, Nitro Gash picks up a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags, but and he stays out. Rudder stays out. So does Matty. So the two front medium runners have stayed out.
Oh, that's an interesting, and it's the cat now picking up a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag. But I've just been riding on board with it's the cat. I can't tell you what the cat did wrong. To be honest with you, I think that is a bit of a peculiar one. There's a bunch of drivers coming into the pits, but Cat and Pars both have broken front wing, and Hulkenberger as well. Oh, and Darrell. Oh, it's all going to wrong for a couple of drivers as we go back under green flag conditions. But you're now looking at what could be a straight fight between Ruddo and Matty for the race victory. Maras is up to third, and look who's in fourth, and look who's in fifth. Oh, Stephen trying to get a second podium, and Kent up from the back of the grid, absolutely flying. And Clips as well. The two Williams.
Incredible how quickly stuff can change just in the span of a couple of laps. This is just absolutely shaken up. I think to go back to why, I think it was Nitro and was it It's the Cat,
yeah.
10 second. I think it might have been because of Pars, because he was ignoring yellow flags would have been essentially overtaking under the VSC. So I think that's why, something maybe a glitch for both of them, because they were both ahead of Pars.
Yeah, well, it might be because Pars also reset the track, of course, like you said, Jack, that the game registered as a driving car and not like a crashed one.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's just a little bit of inexperience of the rules there for Pars in terms of resetting the track. It is a standard penalty for that, so that'll be something that gets covered. Oh, Darrell, it's all just going from bad to worse for the Racing Bull, who picks up another pit lane infraction. But Ruddo leads the way. Maras is in third place, the leader of the hard tyre runners. O'Stevens there, as is Kent. Maras picks up another time penalty, so that's, I'm going to assume, 6 seconds, yeah. Not ideal for her. Glenn Clips has got JPH, who's moved up to 7th, so amidst the chaos, could it be a first point finish for Jordan this season?
It's looking promising, to say the least.
This will be a massive confidence booster for the McLaren pair. It's not gone their way, it's not been easy for both of them. And no, I've been speaking with Jordan lately about it, and it's not been easy to transition from that, WRC driving style, but he's trying to make amends for it, and at the moment this is a very good result for him.
Kent underneath the rear. Yeah, I was just about to say, Jordan looking for a move, Kent definitely looking at a move. He's on the outside of O'Steven. It's going to be late into turn 3. O'Steven never gives it up, and sure enough he doesn't, but that time he has to concede. Can JPH get through? Not quite. Eclipse having the traction, but can he attack back? Going towards the arrest, and Pars has retired, and we've got a full-blown safety car. Where has he gone?
Final turn. Ooh, inside
wall.
wall.
Inside wall.
But it's the left front that's come off, so
Has he gone
that's
on?
very weird.
Has he gone on the curb and it's spat him into it? Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a shame that we were watching. I think Jordan try and get the move on Kiri, and that's come out at the wrong time. But surely now a full safety car. Yeah, I was going to say full safety car now. The medium runners. I think this is. Obviously, you were going around lap 16, 17, Bjorn, to try and get. Well, you started on the hards, didn't you? But I think for a medium, bear in mind you'll have a couple of laps in the safety car. I think it's possible to go to the end on the hard set now, wouldn't you imagine?
Yeah, I'd say so. I did 21 racing laps on the hards before I pitted, and they were around 80%, so it's definitely doable. Depends on how long the safety car stays out, actually. It's going to be very hard to go to the end, but it's definitely possible, I reckon.
I just wanted to also go back to the thing though. This might have suited, if it is a one-stopper, this might have suited the drivers who start on the mediums very well. But the thing is, for drivers that start on the hard, if they want to go into another set of hards, if they have that available, the problem is they're obviously entitled to make another pit stop because obviously 2 tyre compounds are required. So I don't think it's necessarily helped anyone who's gone onto the hards. There's in fact quite a bit of a unique choice. Going from Keze, he's gone to the softs.
Also, line of Griesby, who was in P11 but with safety car, stayed out on his 5-lap old hards and is now up to P8. So he's thinking, I've still got new tires, I don't have to pit, I'll just gain track position.
I think that's the right move from Matty, to be honest with you, sat there in 8th place. I was watching that whilst you were both talking regarding the situation that we've just been watching. So for Lionel Griesby in 8th position, I was surprised to see Keza come in, because Keza was just in front of Lionel Griesby, but he's gone for that soft tyre, so maybe trying to look at medium tyres at the end of this race, so definitely committing to the 2-stop, of course. That's the only thing I can think of.
Keza could be going in again to go back on the hards, but no, he's staying out.
That would have been a strange one, wouldn't it, if he'd have got, because he would have dropped to the back of the field pretty well, 15th definitely. But for those that got involved in incidents before, like Berra, Kat, Bruce, Madman, and Mikey, and Hulkenberger as well, don't forget, is now back in this race thanks to the safety car. It's brought the whole field back together, and Ruddo will be the one at the front dictating it and trying to make those Whitewall Pirelli compound tyres last to the end of this race. And you know, Bjorn, you were saying it, you could do 21 laps on it. I think Ruddo is the type of driver who could make them last 23. Real life racer, of course, in the Fun Cups in the UK, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and
I'd love to see a shot at that.
Yeah, but one thing this is really going to go well for is the constructors. Ferrari leading and Ruddo at the front of the field is going to really help the fight for some points. And Kez, obviously, he's in the top 10 now. He's bound to make another stop unless he's going to finish the race on 100% worn soft tyres. But yeah, this is a good stuff for Ferrari as it stands.
Yeah, it is a positive position for them to be in compared to this weekend at Brazil, of course. So a little bit of good fortune going the way of the Scuderia. I imagine the safety car will be in at the end of the next lap. So we're going on to lap 13 now. Mikey has almost rejoined the pack. Bruce into the pits. Now he was on the hard tyres, so I'm just riding on board with him to see he's gone for mediums by the looks of it. I wonder what has brought this on.
And no front wing changement, so clearly nothing on damage. So that's not going to be possible to get to the end. That's well, certainly not. That's a bit of an odd one.
I wonder if he maybe did have damage that we can't see and it hasn't fixed it. It's the only thing I can think of, or he's trying to get a new fresh set of tyres on and push his way through the field, because the cars in front of him from Spud in 12th to where he is, they're all on the hard tyres. They're all on a couple of safety car laps old tyres, so he would have a tyre offset, and my prediction rings true. I'm not too bad at these apparently. Safety car is in this lap. Where would you go if you were Ruddo? Where would you drop the hammer?
I'm not going to leak that. Anybody who's watching? I know Sydney is in chat.
Well, I mean, whatever catches your opponent napping, I think, is the easiest answer. Yeah, it's up to him. If he wants to go early, he can go early, but he's really going to have to time this well, because he's got the likes of some fresher medium runners, and I think he's having a go now. In fact,
yeah,
he's gone. Yes, he has.
That's a great restart.
He's caught him napping, and actually now Matty has got Mass all over that Red Bull. Of course, can't overtake until they cross the line, but Mass really pressuring the Red Bull.
Cracking restart for Ruddo as Maras runs wide at turn 1 and loses a bit of that momentum. O'Stephen got caught napping a little bit as well, and Nitrogash moves past Lionel Griesby. Kez is also going to go through. I don't think Lionel Griesby will fight this one too hard. No, he just slots into a place where he can. Maras goes through. Go on, Bjorn.
Maras, I think Matty had a little bit of a moment exiting turn 3. He's also under pressure by Kent now, but that was a very good move by Maras. All the way on over the curbs over the sausage curbs of turn 3. Don't know how that Haas managed that, but move well done.
Quite a bit of a squabble going on. Oh, Berra, and it's a cat. And even so, Spud's so tight, but I think Berra, oh, there's contact at the back of the field. It's the cat and DJ Madman.
Oh, I did not catch that properly, but unfortunately for It's the Cat, facing the wrong way on track, gets the car spun round. Any damage? I can't quite see actually from the camera angles that we've been given. Was that tyre to tyre contact, ARL then?
Yeah, it looked more tyre to tyre, to be honest. I think the RB got pushed more onto the gravel, and then ultimately it spun the car around as Clipskiri gets ahead of Jordan through there.
Kez is actually, this little gamble of his on the soft tyres may just pay off yet. He's already up to 8th position. Hulkenberg is tracking well here in this race, is on that recovery drive in 10th place, and whilst Lionel Greasby and Berra are still trying to sort themselves out on the hard tyres. Bruce up to 13th. I did say before, jumping onto the mediums, that slightly different strategy could work out with the hard shod runners in front of him. He's gone up 4 spots, so keep an eye on the McLaren for maybe a double McLaren points finish. We'll have to wait and see, but JPH now going to be having the attentions of the Ferrari of Keza behind him, but Matty's very close here, as is Kent. This is unbelievably close. Kent setting the fastest lap and rather brilliantly picks up the toe from Maras instead. Matty went too defensive and then Kent gets it wrong and braked a little bit too late, almost hit the back of the Haas, and Matty re-emerges in 3rd place, but that was canny racecraft from the Williams.
Yeah, I was grinding my teeth hoping that wouldn't spin around Max, because that was under traction, so that could have easily gone round if it went a little bit worse than it did, but luckily it's all alright. But now Kent, in fact, having a look on Matty, he's going to try and go around the outside, but Matty's going to somewhat push that. Williams saying, no room for you, mate. Try again later, and Matty keeps that podium place. But Maris up to P2. What a drive so far.
Well, also because Kent and Matty are fighting this hard. Oh, Steven is also really close to Kent now, so this string is getting longer and longer. And we have a yellow flag. I believe that's actually a Spud.
Yeah, it's a Spud. He's had a spin middle of the sector. And it's also gapped, well, it's actually brought Clips back into it. So Stevens had a little wobble out there. He's still just about latched onto DRS. He needs to keep into that because JPH and Clips are there as well. Don't forget, you know, Ken, O'Steven, Maras, they're going to all have to pit. So Clips and JPH are fighting over what could be a net 3rd position here in this race. We know Keza will definitely have to stop. It's more of a question of when rather than if, to be frank. And then Nitro and Hulkenberg are on the tail of this group. And then there's that split back to Berra in 11th place. But Ruddo will be quite happy with how things are playing out right now. He knows he's just got to keep Maras at arm's distance, and that'll be enough to keep everybody else behind him.
Yeah, I'm noticing Ruddo saving those hard tires plenty. Meanwhile, Matty doing all the fighting. Those tires will definitely not make it to the end, but Ruddo's definitely can at this pace. He just has to keep Maras behind.
I think where Ruddo's positioning himself is he knows his fight at the moment is not with Maris, because Maris will definitely have to make another stop, whereas the fight will be more likely with Matty, because obviously he's the other driver on the hard tyre. So like you said, Bjorn, Matty's having to really squabble a lot, so that's going to just take life out of those tyres, because he's got Kent behind him and he's got obviously Maris in front of him, so it's not the easiest job for Matty to try and close up, but he's not out of the question though to fight with Ruddo, because Ruddo's still in sight of this.
Yeah, he is, and the key here is Clips goes up the outside of O'Steven, and a bit of battery usage there to fly past the Mercedes. That's a key move actually, because he's managed to get a car between himself and JPH, who's also on the hards. Berra and Bruce fighting over 11th place further down the field as Hulkenberg moves through. Kez has had a rough couple of corners and actually dropped away from the fighting, so sadly for Keza, whatever's gone on, those soft tyres I think are screaming. I think he's going to have to go and get a new set of mediums on this lap, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. And Maras, look at that gap, ladies and gentlemen, she's out of DRS, and Ruddo can do what Ruddo does usually when he gets space at the front, punch it away.
Yeah, 100% now. Oh, Maris just going a little bit wide, hoping that wouldn't cause another track limit violation, but that's going to leave her vulnerable down this straight. What's the delta? It's 1.3 around, so in fact Matty doesn't get the greatest of exits here, but I think the DRS is just going to be too powerful to really hinder you back, and going to go side by side, potentially into turn 3. Matty's going to break a little bit later. That Maris says, oh, they go off. Maris gets pushed off. Kent goes through.
Unbelievable that. Talking about being in the right place at the right time, Kent will be laughing to himself and inevitably will be making comments later about winding them up. So Kent moves into second and critically is almost away with DRS, which is going to be crucial. Oh, Stephen and JPH battling. This is an important move for Jordan if he wants to have a real shot at a podium, which would be a surprise. He gets in front of O Stephen and moves up to 6th place. He's 4th of the hard shod runners, and I know JPH, he will try and get those tyres to the end, so he's got to stick with Clips, who's just in front of him. DXT Matty, though, he's going to try and recalibrate after that little contact with Maras and see if he can reclose that gap onto Kent, but Ruddo is using those tyres to good effect and is nearly 2 seconds clear, and Sir Spud picks up a time penalty. Let's just give you the penalty situation for everybody. Maras with 6 seconds, Bruce, Mikey and Sir Spud, 4 drivers so far in the race. We've got 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Well, 3 drivers with 3, 1 with 6.
Hulkenberger, meanwhile, is almost back into the front train.
Yeah, it's going well for Hulkenberger, but needs to keep pushing hard. Clips, nice move that on Maras. Those medium tyres looking like they're struggling a little bit, and Jordan will want to try and follow through as Maras all over the shop at the exit of turn 6, and I imagine the car will have a little twig on 7, which it does. So Maras really starting to struggle. Jordan trying to get on with this. Look at this. He's going to look to the inside line at turn 9. He's not going to be too bold and dangerous and throw it up the inside. He's got to be careful he doesn't pick up a time penalty that Maras just did as she slides on the exit of turn 10. We move over to lap 22 and JPH is going for it. This time he's going to make this move stick, I think. On the inside, Maras trying to cut underneath, but a little bit of a traction brake on the exit of the corner. It's going to be down to the DRS for the pair of them and battery power. I think JPH is going to have a little bit more, but this is going to be close. Maras not giving this up. JPH brakes a lot later, gets the car oversteer on the exit. There's going to be a contact on the exit of the corner. They're still together, and oh, Stephen desperately trying to find a way through in the Mercedes, and I think he is going to find a way up into 6th position. So sadly for Maras, he's just falling down the field. I know Stephen capitalises. JPH moves up to 5th, and critically, he's still within DRS of the Williams in 4th position as Nitro finds a way through past Maras, and I think she's going to have to pit.
Yeah, the mediums are struggling, and it's the same going for Kent into turn 3. Looks so sketchy. The rear checking out a place, and he's having to try and hold the likes of Matty, but Matty is much closer around this time round. But surely Maris is coming in this lap. Yes, she is.
Kent's picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah.
That is really going to hurt. Might kick him off the podium at the end.
Well, it all comes down to now those who have pitted. Is that Mikey who's gone round at the final corner?
It is.
And he's in the wall.
Mikey's up. Oh, is that a VSC?
It's
a full course yellow.
Yeah, it is a VSC. So good timing for Maras, actually. Of all the times to go into the pits, she'll lose a little bit less time, as will It's the Cat. So Haas double stack in there. Just convenience for them, really. That's played out well. So Mikey having the spin, getting stuck and having to reverse back on track. Doing the right thing, Mikey, just staying in the same position before reversing when it's safe. The Sauber has brought out a VSC. So just take a little moment to have a breather, everybody. Ruddo leads the way. He's got nearly 4 seconds on Kent, with Matty, Clips and JPH on for what is a net 4th at the moment, unless Kent can magic those tyres to the end. Oh, Stephen, Nitro, Hulkenberger and NSX Berra. Oh, there we go, and Hulkenberger got caught out. And the Berra flies through, and Ruddo's gone into the pits. The race leader's in the pits.
I was about to say, surely Ken comes into the pits, but Ruddo only 12 laps on the hard. from the lead of the race to be put into traffic. That's a very bold choice, unless he knows something we don't. But that's very, I don't want to say odd, but very different to what we were imagining.
I can only assume he's decided as Berra. It's three wide into turn 3. The two Mercedes have come through that cleanly. Somehow it is a Mercedes engine sandwich. As you've got Nitro, of course, that Aston Martin has a Mercedes engine in the back of it. But Nitro will have a little bit of slipstream from Stephen. There's still side-by-side into turn 4. This is great action between everybody. A bit of wheel banging, but Berra gets through in the end. What I was about to say, gentlemen, is that as Nitro almost goes off the track, Ruddo, I think, would have pitted then, maybe to try and capitalise on the VSC, but equally, those tyres now are going to comfortably go to the end, and watch his progress.
As well, Kent in 2. The hards are pitting early.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the VSC just helps the hard take a little bit of a breather and cool down a little, but a lot of hard runners just pitted, and honestly, I don't understand why.
What it is going to do, though, is Clips Kiri and Jordan and Berra are now your top 3, all on hards that could very much potentially go to the end of the race. So it's going to be a bit of a charge from Ruddo Kent as Keza now gets ahead of Kent. Actually, there might be quite a bit of a fight going up to turn 3. There's 2 battles, maybe 3 battles into turn 3. They're going 3 wide potentially. Ooh, so close, but somehow we've avoided any bit of contact now. But Keza should get the better of it now. It's side by side between Kent and Maris. Who's going to be braver? But in fact, they've got the DRS. Keza's holding and back. They're going nearly 3 wide again.
They do go 3 wide and Kent dives through. Maras is trying to go around the outside, but Kent is going to dive through the middle. Parting shot of the waves, and the Williams on those 0 lap old hard Pirellis fires up into the top 5. Big move that from Kent. It was brave as Berra pits. So at the moment, Ruddo leading a trend of hard tyre runners who've decided to make a pit stop. New fastest lap of the race. And gents, that's something I'm going to keep an eye on, is what Clips and JPH are doing for lap times, because Ruddo is hunting them down. He's siving that advantage down. And I think it's a question of, can they hang on to a podium rather than the race victory, as Maras picks up another penalty. What a disaster. 12 seconds. It's going to drop her out of the points at this rate.
Still going to try and make the moves on track, though. Having a little look on Kent now. She's going to brake later than the Williams, but a little bit of wheel banging, but that's enough for Maras to get ahead. And she actually gets the DRS detection point again, right? So she's got a little bit of a helping hand down into turn 4, so she's safe from any attack. But going back to the front of the field, this is going to be tough, because the thing is, Jordan is now within, well within DRS range of Kiri. Could they maybe be helping each other out, potentially? As actually, I think Kiri's coming into the pits. He is coming into the pits. So Clips Kiri into the pit stop, and Jordan stays out for another lap.
109.
Everybody take a screenshot. Jordan's leading a Grand Prix.
Well, I'll say this much. He is leading at the moment, but Ruddo is catching by 2 seconds a lap. So he's cleared for getting past JPH at this rate. However, he is 13 seconds clear of what I can only describe as the barnstorming battle between Kent, Maras, Matty, Keza, Hulkenberger, and about a million other cars who might also be featured in this race, as Maras goes back in front. But that gap between Jordan in first and Maras in third position is 12 seconds. 13 seconds as Kent re-overtakes the Haas. At 2 seconds a lap, you'd feel that Kent would catch JPH. So it all comes down to tyre management. If those guys keep ripping time out of Jordan but take the tyre life away, you never know. He might be able to hang on, but it's a matter of... Ooh, I don't know. Who's going to take the podium here? It's so tight. But he carries on for another lap, does Jordan. So great to see him up at the front as Matty moves up to 4th in front of Maras, just at turn 9.
So this squabble still going on. The thing is, as you're saying, 2 seconds a lap is a lot. The thing is, if they're just switching places with the help of DRS, then they are really giving them the best chance to try and catch Jordan in that, what is it, now 16 lap old hards. But if they squabble too hard, then they'll obviously lose the time. So it could go either way, it really could. But yeah, I hope for Jordan's sake, he's not had the easiest time returning to the game. I hope he gets a result that he really feels happy with, because that will mean a lot to the McLaren camp.
Sydney actually adding a comment there saying 25 laps on hards doesn't work for everyone. It's a really good point, to be honest with you. You know, not everyone can pull it off, but if there's one driver who I feel would challenge it to try and do it, it would be JPH. And I know that Jordan and Rudder will be chatting about where they are on track. They'll both be in the same party, and I reckon Rudder, with those unbelievably fresh tyres, I could give Jordan a little bit of a helping hand here, but I don't want to speculate. Kent is still at this rate in time 10 seconds behind as Hulkenberger gets past Maras, and this has been a great recovery drive from Hulkenberger up to 5th position, 1.7 away from Matty, as Keza picks up a time penalty and Keza gets overtaken by Clips Kiri, who moves up to 7th place. It's almost impossible to call who's going to get a good result here as Maras dives down the inside, and Hulkenberger will take that back, and she's on the grass, and Maras is going to slide back down to maybe 9th place, which she does, and Keza gets overtaken by Berra for 7th place. There is action every single place you look on the circuit.
Yeah, like you said, Hulkenberger is making up a lot of places, but he's pushing those tires really hard. I'm not sure.
JPH in the pits.
Yeah. I'm not sure if those mediums will take it to the end.
Soft tyres for Jordan? I'm going to assume that would be the case.
I think it's a medium.
Mediums? Okay. We did see Keza struggling on 7-lap-old softs before, so maybe that is the right call for Jordan, which is a shame. But he's in a really strong position, I think, to still score points today.
He comes out, in fact, just ahead of his teammate, so maybe they could give each other a little bit of a helping hand with DRS, potentially. That could be an option, as Spud picks up a 3-second time penalty. The thing is, if the front up ahead keeps squabbling, which they are doing that, they're nearly having a look 3 wide into turn 4. Kiri and Hulkenberger. Hulkenberger has to settle that one. Klipski gets ahead, and Berra trying to look for a way on the Alpine as we had a brief yellow flag. I think that was Mikey down at turn 10. It's all green now, but like I said, if they keep squabbling over these positions, then for the likes of JPH and anyone who's come into the pits recently, they can potentially close up to this fight.
Oh, contact between O'Stephen and Maras as Keza goes into the pits. So Keza deciding, and is that another VSC?
It's a VSC, yes.
What is that for?
Nitro was in the wall. Nitro's in the wall at turn 10.
Oh, disaster. And the worst thing for Nitro, Keza's gone into the pits.
Keza.
Well, that's nicely timed.
And it's a soft tyre. So that's going to be spicy.
Well, Nitro's going to have to do a full lap without a front wing, especially if the safety car goes, or rather the VSC, the virtual one, goes green at any point during this lap. He's going to drop out of the points. So what was looking like a really strong race for Nitro sadly has petered out the wrong way. Just looking at JPH now, he's in 9th place. Maras has got 12 seconds worth of penalty, so he's going to finish at minimum 8th place, but he does have that tyre offset, and we are green again, so Kent has to get underway from Matty. Then there's that gap back to Clips, Hulkenberger and Berra, and then it's O'Stephen, Maras, the 2 McLarens, and Nitro, who's going to do well to stay in front of the cap before he gets to the pit lane, to be honest. And the rest of the field have all gone for softs, apart from Mikey.
This could be a good double. I think would be the first double points scoring for the McLaren, if I'm not mistaken. It would be. So because Maris, she's sitting on what, 12 seconds of penalty. That's gonna really hurt. as Keza gets through in ahead of Nitro. That's Nitro coming into the pit, so you'd assume a new set of softs. A front wing, of course. But who else is up ahead? Oh, actually a little bit of quite close between Hulkenberg and Berra for that P5. But stay minus third for another lap.
Yeah, Clips has been fighting quite aggressively in this second part of the race, and I can completely understand why. You know, at the moment the two Williamses are on for a double points finish, but he's got 3 seconds worth of time penalties that he's got to try and find from somewhere. At the moment, it's going to drop him behind Hulkenberger and Berra. For Maras, it would drop her to 12th place as it stands, so she'd still score a point. It'd be a double points finish for Haas, but it almost feels like what could have been really for those two in the Haas, because at one point they were in 3rd and 6th, but the race has kind of disappeared away from them. But JPH is flying, he is catching up, so maybe he can get O'Stephen before the end. I was going to say, I think Hulkenberger was looking at a move on the back of Clips there, but just a touch too far away.
I think oh, in fact, that's Hulkenberger having a look off. Clips Kurian, in fact, gets that nicely done well before, and he's up ahead into 4th place. I think the important thing is for Berra and Hulkenberger as another penalty for Mass. But the important thing is for Hulkenberg and Berra is they know that Kent's got a penalty, so they want to maybe try and charge down and potentially steal this position. As there's a yellow flag, I think that's Mikey out of turn 10. It is, so it's not been a good night for Mikey. Just he seems like turn 10 struggling to keep that rear in check.
Yeah, it's been an awkward evening for Mikey, to be honest with you. So I think he might have actually slowed down to let Ruddo through there, to be honest. I know Mikey typically jumps out of the way for race leaders, as is true to form. But Jordan is on the back of the Mercedes of O'Stephen. He's going to look to the inside line, and I think he's going to get that move completed before we get to turn 3. He just defends that line a little bit more. O'Stephen trying to do the switchback and try and cut underneath, but the McLaren had a really good traction zone out of that corner. O'Stephen does have DRS, but I'm going to suspect he's going to be too far back, and that is the case. So JPH up to 7th. It all comes down to now whether he can close that gap to Clips and get another position based off track limit penalties. But Ruddo casually driving his way, stroking the car home to what would be a first win of the season.
I think in a race where, Paz exiting it quite early, regardless, Ruddo's been really showing good pace here tonight, and he has shown it ever since after Bahrain, really. And I think that's really putting, of course, Paz not going to be scoring anything tonight, so besides the sprint race, so that's going to be really tight in the driver's standing. But Ruddo's really shown that he can fight for this, and I think tonight's sealing that. But he's doing a beautiful job at just keeping it out ahead, keeping it managed to the end, as he's got 3 laps to go, including this one.
Just wondering if Bjorn is still there. I know that Bjorn sounded like he was having a few technical issues just then. Everything okay, Bjorn? You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just enjoying the race.
Is that Mikey getting right out of the way? Yes, Mikey does take to the gravels traps as well, and has got a 10-second time penalty for driving over. I don't think he's going to go to the stewards with that one, gents, to be honest with you. In fact, he's managed to spin around, so not like Kylie Minogue, a little bit unique in that one. He might get disqualified if he's not careful, considering where he is. But we are on the penultimate lap. Ruddo leading the way. Hulkenberg is still defending from Clipson and SX Barra. Those two are still fighting over position. Here comes the Mercedes. It's going to go to the inside. And a nice use of the battery for the Mercedes. Moves up to 5th. So can he attack Hulkenberger for 4th position? Kent is on his way to a podium, but will it be 2nd or will it be 3rd? He's 2.7 seconds clear of DXT Matty. He was, but it's actually 1.6. So he needs to find something special in this last I'm going to estimate about 4.5 miles. Oh, Stephen on for a really good position, and then Maras. she's had the queen amount of penalties today, and the frustrating thing for her, the amazing thing for her right now, gents, is that she still could finish 12th because Madman's got 3 seconds worth of penalties. So if she doesn't make any more mistakes, she might still get a point despite the penalty situation.
I think she's gotten more off track than Lewis Hamilton in 2021 in Bahrain. But,
Unfortunately for her, her luck doesn't go her way because Lewis does not get any warnings from that. That was okay, but this time round, the game is not too kind of you, but it's the cat gets through. I think that's just a bit more tactical. Let your teammate through. It's actually now here comes the McLaren on the Haas. Both DRS though because of that other Haas of it's the cat, but I think Mash should be able to defend this one into 3, and she does, and she'll get a helping hand down all the way into turn 4.
Clips was trying to get close to Berra, but those medium tyres on his Williams have decided enough's enough. But Berra makes a mistake into 6, should get away with that. I'm going to roll forward because it's going to be a first well-deserved victory of season 22. It's back to winning ways. He hasn't been here for a while, but Rudo24 takes the victory here at Austria. Kent is going to cross the line for a well-deserved podium, but it's DXT Matty. Really underrated drive from the Red Bull man. He takes second with Kent in third. Hulkenberger will be fourth. Berra fifth. Jordan does get clips for 6th place. Great drive from the McLaren. Oh, Stephen, really another good solid result for the Mercedes man this season in 8th. It's the Cat is 9th, then play the lottery in terms of where Maras will finish. Bruce is 10th. Keza gets 11th, and it'll all come down to whether Madman has got his soft tyre shoes on and can get that gap under, I can't believe I'm saying this, 18 seconds. Does he get there? Yes, he does, by 1 second. And Lionel Griesby was so close to getting what I think he was unlucky with the way the safety cars worked for him in the end. He probably, on another day, would have scored points in that Sauber.
Yeah, it was, not meant to be for today, but now closer this time round to getting some points for Sauber, but it's an encouragement because it's not far off for him.
Nitro finished, Sir Spud finished, and Mikey doing his inner Bottas by doing a bit of lawnmowing comes across the line. He does finish, which is the most important thing. Might not have been Mikey's season so far, but he has got the Sauber over the finish here at the Red Bull Ring. Drivers are going to be out celebrating, but that was a great race, gents.
Yeah, great race.
All I'll say is, can we have an 8-race season of Austria, please? Wow, that was, action everywhere you went. Incredible stuff, I think there's nothing more we can add on to that. It was just simply incredible.
Well, Rudo turning the frowns of the Scuderia ups back to the right way around, celebrating on the podium there. Fastest lap went to Nitrogash, but he doesn't score the extra point, sadly, thanks to him finishing outside the top 12. Driver of the day goes the way of Kent today, definitely deserved. Berra putting the most overtakes in, and cleanest driver going away of Stephen. But these are the provisional results. Rudo takes the victory from DXT Matty. Kent in third with Hulkenberger fourth. Berra, Jordan with a strong result in 5th and 6th place respectively. Clips, Stephen, It's the Cat and Bruce rounding out the points. Keza in 11th. Madman snatching that final point. Maras, Lionel Griesby and Nitrogash all quite close to getting points, but missed out in the end. So Spud and Mikey, the last of the classified finishes. Daryl was having a bit of a nightmare, so retired from the race. And Pars having that mystery accident that knocked him out of the race early on and ripping off that front left wheel.
Yeah, hopefully we can get an on board to see what exactly happened, because to have that front left ripped off a right-hander, the only logical explanation is going wide at turn 9, spinning the car, and then obviously the left tyre taking the entirety of the contact, really. But besides that, that's all we can really say.
Well, that has been a really thrilling Tier 2 race action. We had a lot of action yesterday in Tier 1, so the Tier 2 drivers always deciding they want to take it up another notch and try and steal some of the limelight. But next week, the gang will be heading off for round 4. We're going to be at the halfway mark of the season, so, you know, we're going to start talking about the championship soon in terms of who needs to be making those critical moves, and we'll be heading off to Las Vegas, so there's going to be plenty of opportunities for battles around the field. After that, we've got a season week break before we go back to the racing action in December at Suzuka, but that's still some ways away at the moment. Before we finish up though, just over to Bjorn and obviously to ARL. I'll start with Bjorn. Who would, if you had to pick a driver of the day, who would you give it to, Bjorn?
I knew it was coming. As you were saying the result, I was trying to pick mine because I had 5 candidates, I believe. I'm still debating between Kent or Jordan. Of course, Jordan having a fantastic result, I guess you could say. Fantastic is a pretty fitting word. And Kent all the way from the back to... did he finish on the podium? Yeah, I think he did.
He did, yeah. He finished in 3rd place.
Yeah, so that's a great drive as well. And then I had Clips, I had Hulkenberger for the comeback, and then someone else, but I forgot. But I think I'm going to give it to Jordan.
What about you, ARL? What would you do?
Too many drivers there. Too many drivers have done some really impressive things tonight. So yeah, I think definitely up for grabs Ken. Also Kiri, Oops Kiri starting in 18th, bringing it into 7th was nice to see. Berra 12th to 5th. So a lot of great drives from the bottom half coming up through there. But as well, I think it can't be mistaken that Jordan, I think in a season that it's clear it's not been going his way, and getting back into things, I think that's a really good result for him specifically. So yeah, I think he'll have to, probably for me, I'd say Jordan.
Well, I'll give you my opinion. I think you know the drivers who we've mentioned, you know, Kent, wonderful drive through the field. Clips doing a barnstorming drive as well to finish strongly. I think that was. I mean, the 2 Williamses, don't forget, the 16th and 18th to finish in the top 6 like they've both done is really impressive. Jordan having that fabulous result. He was actually saying in the chat he would have tried to have gone to the end of the race on hards, but overestimated the drop off, so sadly couldn't stretch it to the end. But for me, I'm going to give it to a driver who has kind of been overlooked throughout the race from myself and from a lot of the comments. DXT Matty qualified in 5th place, avoided all the carnage around him, and for him it's a big result because we haven't seen him in the top placings for quite a while. He's had quite a bit of bad luck in recent seasons, and for him to join back in tonight for his first race of the season, I think he's acquitted himself really, really well. So I give it to him.
Yeah, no, it's I don't want to say it went quiet because he's been making his moves through there, but yeah, no, that's the thing. It's been quite a bit of a difficult one to pick.
It has been.
It's been an incredible race. You can even argue maybe Ruddo because he's done everything he's needed to do. He checked out when he needed to do, and yeah, but no, I think it's no wrong answer in that.
So we are going to finish up in just a few moments time, but before we do finish up, just a reminder, if you do like the stream, that would be fantastic. Helps the visibility of the channel. I know that the shorts have been getting quite a lot of views, which is always really strong for us. We get new people signing up for Invictus, and hopefully we're able to filter them into the other lobbies as we move through this season. So please do like the stream, subscribe if you're watching. There's been quite a lot of you. There was 20 of you at one point tonight, which is really encouraging to see, all watching the live entertainment from Invictus. But before I do my closing comments, Bjorn, is there anything you'd like to say before we finish up?
Come back next week.
beautifully succinct there on that one. ARL, anything else you want to add?
Viva Las Vegas.
What a tune, what a time to be alive. We are heading to Viva Las Vegas for round 4 of the championship next week, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, make sure you tune in for round 4 next Monday.